Thank you, Nellie. I feel so excited about this one. Let's get through it. Human civilization is built on foundations so old and so tightly woven into our daily lives that we hardly notice them anymore. These foundations are not inventions with clear starting dates, and they are not places you can visit or institutions you can fix or redesign. Instead, they are the deep forces under human history, the structures that made life in groups possible long before people even had the words to describe them, to notice them, or to think about them. This pillar of civilization, language and writing systems, focuses on those hidden forces and on the long journey they have shaped. Instead of looking only at the visible parts of it, the news, the conflicts, the big events, or the famous people who grab attention, it looks at the structures underneath. The solid systems and slow-moving mechanisms that create social patterns, shape cultural life, and organize what it means to be human across time. It's a change in perspective, a shift away from the noise of right now, and toward the deeper structures that give the present its meaning. This perspective matters even more in a time like ours, where technology is changing extremely fast. The speed at which we live, talk, and adapt exposes cracks in the old ways we use to understand the world. Things that once felt stable, how we formed relationships, how we searched for truth, how we participated in public conversations, how we built trust, how we understood ourselves, now develop under conditions that expand human possibility while also overwhelming our ability to manage it. Many people feel confused by this, but do not understand why. This first season will therefore follow the evolution of communication, from spoken traditions to writing, from the world shaped by print to the fast, flexible environment of digital code. The goal of this season is to explain the structural transition that leads to what Nellie called digital irony and post-sincerity culture. A cultural environment defined by strategic self-presentation, emotional distance, ambiguity, and the weakening of sincerity as a stable and respected way of expressing oneself. Before we can explore this modern condition or discuss its psychological effects, we must understand the civilizational foundation that made it possible in the first place. The long story of how humans built and transformed the tools that carry meaning across time equals communication. This is where the exploration begins. Music transition, please. Nice piece of song. I hope you guys could enjoy it and decompress a little now that the more dense part will follow. So, when we talk about civilization, we usually think about what we can see: cities, laws, technologies, institutions. But these are the results, not the foundations. They sit on something deeper, a set of human abilities that make life in groups possible in the first place. At its core, civilization depends on three connected functions. 1. Meaning must move from one mind to another. 2. People must turn shared understanding into coordinated action. 3. And knowledge must last beyond the present moment. So, this gives us a triad, on which the basis of civilization is essentially built: communication, coordination, and cultural encoding. Together, they create the structure that allows humans to think together, act together, and remember together. Every major turning point in history is not only about new tools or new leaders. It is actually a change in this deeper structure. When communication changes, what people can understand together changes as well. When coordination evolves, what people can accomplish together expands. When cultural encoding transforms, memory itself becomes stronger or weaker. It can go both ways. Observing and analyzing civilization in this manner allows us to develop a better understanding of what comes before institutions are established. It makes it possible to see beyond technology and to include the basis of shared life, meaning the bare minimum conditions we need to understand how life in groups is possible. When these conditions improve, political institutions can grow. When they crack, society shakes too. Throughout both ancient and modern history, this same basic structure keeps rearranging, and each rearrangement affects what humans can build together or not. This feels very much abstract. So, let us look at the following example, which we place around the year 1200. Imagine a medieval town around the year 1200. There is no digital technology, no modern state, no bureaucracy. Yet the town manages to build a stone bridge, a huge, expensive, technically sophisticated, multi-year project. Why not? If these conversations break down, the
Yes, that was me. I just added a note on your screen. I'm not sure if you can see it now. I suggest we explain or we give further explanation why we refer to the year 1200 as a year in human history where there was no modern state yet. Because maybe few people, I don't know, but I think that perhaps we can explain that. We can explain that as an addition. Okay, thank you. That was it.
I can see the note you added. Okay, before moving forward with the example, we would like to add this note, which we think is important to understand the logic of modern state. So, why are we referring to the year 1200 as a period of time where there was no modern state? When we talk about political history, historians use a political timeline to classify how human societies were organized. This political timeline divides history into distinct eras based on how power worked, how governments were structured, and how authority was exercised. Using that political timeline, the development of the modern state looks like this. 1. Pre-modern empires, not modern states. Ancient empires such as Babylon, Persia, and Rome exercised power, but they lacked the defining features of the modern state, especially territorial sovereignty and a monopoly on legitimate force. 2. Medieval period, feudal, fragmented by 1200. Europe was politically medieval. Authority was dispersed among feudal lords. The church held major influence, and centralized sovereignty did not exist. 3. 13th century onward. Early state-like norms appear, but remain pre-modern. Some elements of statehood begin taking shape. Competition for jurisdiction, more defined governance, but these are still not modern sovereign states. 4. 15th, 17th centuries. Modern state characteristics take shape: centralized administration, stronger monarchs, clearer territorial control, and emerging sovereignty become visible in this era. 5. 1648 Westphalia. Fully articulated sovereign state system. The Peace of Westphalia formalizes territorial sovereignty, non-interference, and the modern international state system. As reference, you can search Angel Alvarado and Ivan Lizardo Luna. But PF course, there are many others. The one we mentioned here are not the only one.